Right, so you're eyeing up your first 7-string guitar. Thinking about that extra low string, all that power, feels proper exciting, doesn't it? That initial buzz is brilliant, but let me tell you, finding the right one, the one that actually ends up working for you and doesn't annoy you, honestly, it hasn't exactly been plain sailing for me personally. Trust me when I say I've bought and sold my fair share of 7-string guitars in my time. My wallet still has faint memories of some of those adventures. So consider this video a little bit of a public service announcement. It's based on hard-won experience because I've genuinely made these mistakes, so hopefully you won't have to as well. Today, we're diving into the 7 crucial pitfalls when buying a 7-string guitar. Basically, the things I really wish someone had sat me down and warned me about before I splashed out loads of cash on a lot of those earlier attempts. The goal here is simple. Learn from my fumbles, avoid these common traps, and hopefully, you too can find your perfect 7-string guitar first time around, saving yourself a whole lot of grief and hopefully a bit of money as well. Right then, let's get stuck in with the first mistake you really want to avoid. First things first, and this one is massive. Ignoring the scale length. Now what's that? Simply put, it's the distance between the nut and the bridge saddles. Basically, it's the vibrating length of the string. On most standard 6-string guitars, it's around 25.5 inches. But here's the snag. If you get a 7-string, especially a cheaper one, with the same short scale length as a standard guitar, that poor low B string, or whatever tuning you have it in, it's going to feel like a floppy rubber band. It just doesn't have enough tension. It leads to a horrible flappy sound, dodgy tuning stability, awful intonation all the way up the neck, and basically it makes the guitar feel cheap and basically unplayable. Especially for the one thing you bought it for, those super low notes. You end up basically fighting the instrument constantly. Honestly, it's a surefire way to just waste your money, just pour it down the drain. So look for slightly longer scale lengths, 26 inches, 27.5, even multi-scale. Band fret guitars are designed specifically to tackle this issue, and it absolutely makes a world of difference. Right, mistake number 2, using the wrong string gauges. You got your shiny new 7-string home, brilliant. You want to restring your new guitar? First thing you do, you grab the 6-string pack that you always use on all your guitars. Bad idea, you don't want to do that. Think about it. That low B string is tuned significantly lower than your low E. Slapping a thin string on there, especially combined with potentially too short a scale length like we talked about earlier, that gives you the same floppy, useless feel we just talked about. The tone will be rubbish, the feel will be off, and it will buzz like nobody's business. You might end up thinking, oh no, this guitar is just bad, when actually, it's desperately crying out for a proper set of 7-string specific strings. You definitely need that thicker gauge on the low end. Think sets like 10 to 59, 11 to 62s, maybe even heavier depending on your tuning of choice. Factor in the cost of getting decent strings right away. Don't cripple your brand new guitar with the wrong set. I personally like to get my favourite 6-string set for the top 6 strings, and then I add a single string for the 7th one. Something like 9 to 46, and then I add like a 60 or a 72 on the bottom. Have a play around and find out what suits your style most. Mistake number 3 is a sneaky one. Overlooking the pickups in your guitar. Especially on more budget-friendly 7-strings, the stock pickups tend to usually be, well, a bit pants, frankly. They might sound okay-ish for standard 6-string stuff, but they often just cannot handle that low B string with any clarity. What happens? You just get indistinctive mud. All that lovely low-end power you wanted turns into a flubby, undefined mess. You lose all the note definition that you need for tight, heavy riffs. This is a massive deal because also replacing pickups ain't cheap. Whether you're looking at active EMGs or Fishmans, or nice passive bare knuckles or Seymour Duncans, you're potentially adding a significant chunk to the initial cost of your guitar. So when you're budgeting, either look for a guitar that already has decent pickups known for handling low tunings, or factor in the hidden cost of needing an upgrade almost immediately if you want those crushing tones. Mistake number 4, neglecting your amp and the amp's EQ. Your killer 7-string needs an amp that can handle its lower frequencies without getting muddy or losing any clarity, especially smaller amps. But critically, don't just plug it in using your old 6-string settings. I learned this the hard way. The 7-string has different frequencies and pickups, so you must redial your EQ using your ears and not your eyes. If you don't, you might mistakenly think the guitar sounds bad when it's really just the amp settings needing adjusting. Especially if you're using modern day things like plugins, don't just rely on presets that you always use, you're going to have to tailor them to fit the guitar also. So make sure you check your amp or plugin's capability and always take the time to tailor the EQ especially for your 7-string guitar. Mistake number 5 shifts from sound to feel, specifically underestimating the neck width and the profile. Let's be honest, 7-string necks are generally wider than 6-string necks. They have to be to fit that extra string. Now if you just jump in blind, buying online perhaps without even trying one first, which can be tricky I know, especially finding specific models if you live somewhere in the middle of nowhere, like I do in the UK, you pretty much have to shop around online. You might find that the wider neck or a particularly chunky profile is actually really uncomfortable. It could slow down your playing, cause hand cramps, or just feel ergonomically wrong for you. That's one of the main reasons why I struggle playing 7 strings, because I always get shoulder issues and hand cramps, which is why I wear these Sweatbands. Check them out. This discomfort can genuinely lead to you, well, not wanting to pick up the guitar at all. And then it becomes another wasted purchase. So if at all possible, try and get your hands on a few different 7 strings before buying one. Even if they're not the exact model you really want, just so you can feel the difference in the neck shapes and the widths. What feels great to one person might feel like a cricket bat to another, so go out and give it a try. Mistake number 6, neglecting tuning stability. This is especially relevant on cheaper instruments, but it can actually affect any guitar not set up properly. That low B string, with its thickness and lower tension, can be particularly prone to slipping out of tune. There's nothing more frustrating than getting halfway through recording a song or playing live and realizing your low notes sound completely out of tune, or having to constantly keep retuning between every take. Kills your flow, kills the vibe, and frankly, it can make you want to throw the bloody thing out the window. So look at the hardware. Are the tuners decent quality? Sometimes budget guitars skimp here. Is the nut cut properly for thicker strings? Is the bridge stable? Little things can add up. Lock-in tuners are a massive plus for stability if you can find them in your price range, so don't underestimate how much poor tuning stability will absolutely drive you mad. And finally, mistake number 7. This one hits close to home because I fell into this trap myself, big time when I first started. It's the mistake of treating your new 7-string just like it's a 6-string with a couple of extra low notes added on. Honestly, I originally bought my first 7-string pretty much just so I could play stuff in the drop A tuning. And what did I spend most of my time doing? Exactly that. Chugging out riffs, essentially only on the low 3 strings, like I was playing in drop D but on a 7-string. It was absolutely chug city. What about the top 3 or even 4 strings? Well, they might as well have not even been there most of the time. I basically ignored the rest of the guitar's full potential. Did I learn specific 7-string scales that incorporated the full range? Nope. Did I look into new 7-string chord voicings that used all the strings? Not really. Did I adapt my lead playing, like learning sweep picking patterns that actually covered all 7 strings instead of just the top few I was used to? Embarrassingly, no. And what happens when you do that? You end up with a glorified, slightly heavier 6-string guitar. You've essentially just got your standard guitar with extra low notes tacked on to the end, which is fine for some riffs, but it's a massive waste of the instrument's true potential. You miss out on so many creative possibilities, wider intervals, unique chords, and different scale positions. So don't make the same mistake I did. Don't neglect those higher strings. Dive into the guitar properly. Learn how the whole instrument works together. Explore those scales and those chords that fully utilize all the 7 strings. Make sure you make a conscious effort to integrate the full range of the guitar into your playing. I mean, you've bought a 7-string guitar, not just 3 low strings. Make good use of your investment and unlock everything it can do. I mean, I'm a boomer. I pretty much just still play 7-string riffs that I learned from the MySpace era, but looking at new modern players like Era, Spiritbox, Sleep Token, to name a few, they all utilize the whole range of the guitar, and I actually wish I could play more songs like that. So if you've got any suggestions, leave them in the comments below for me. So there we have it. 7 common mistakes that you should avoid when buying your first or just another 7-string guitar. It really ultimately boils down to just doing a bit of research. Thinking about scale length, the strings that you're going to put on it, the pickups, your amp, how the neck feels, tuning stability, and actually being prepared to use the thing properly. But please don't let this scare you off. 7-string guitars are absolutely brilliant instruments, And they open up loads of creative possibilities. This is just about going in with your eyes open, so you end up ultimately pleased with your purchase, not frustrated like I've been so many times over. Hopefully, this guide helps you get it sorted. So what about you guys? Have you bought any 7-string guitars recently? Did you make the same mistakes that I did? Or perhaps have you made different ones? Let me know down in the comments below and give any suggestions that you can to help anybody else not make the same mistakes we've all made before.